Hello viewers, welcome to our lecture series on Indian ethos in management, and in today's lecture of mine I am going to tell you about the new age Indian management, and this is going to be part 2 of our lectures on the new age Indian management. And in the previous lecture of mine I told you about the different perspectives of the framework which is basically acting as a foundation of the new age Indian management. And continuing our discussion on those perspectives, let us talk about the cultural context or the country of origin. And if we look at this approach of understanding the management processes, it actually emerged from the cultural context of management theories and practices. What is the role of cultural aspect while managing the business, the day-to-day activities of business enterprise? Here comes the point which is supposed to be considered when we talk about the cultural context or the country of origin. So with the success of Japanese economic enterprises, the concept of Japanese management was articulated, and it was their success because of that. It was articulated. While earlier management books, they talked about the American management as the salvation. A new breed of writers, or I would say the new string of writers, they started writing about the Japanese management. And eventually what happened, now the considerable literature exists both in relation to American management and Japanese management theories and concept. So we find the presence of those techniques in literature because thinkers started accepting the very success of those techniques, and it was basically based on the experiments which they have actually implemented or conducted in their business setup. So the outcome of that specific kind of experiment, it came into the theories and principles, and they actually became the part of the literature on that specific field. So in Indian context also, the construct of Indian management, it has been slowly emerging. I would say that speed was not very high initially. It has been slowly emerging, and Indian models and concepts of leadership and management, they are now recognized in international literature as well. Now we take Srimad Bhagavad Gita as a book for understanding the essence of management. It not only tells us about the role of a subordinate, but also the leadership, the different types of leadership, the different roles of a leader, the kind of activities you are supposed to perform as a leader. It is we who talk about the servant leadership. It is we who talk about the Pratham Sevak or Pradhan Sevak. We talk about taking the leader of any team as the first servant, as the Pratham Sevak. So it is basically the change of perspective which we are witnessing, in terms of managing the business, the activities of business enterprises, in terms of leadership, in terms of routine functions of management. So those concepts are emerging. They are very much in place now. And although the speed was initially slow, but now it has been adopted by different business enterprises and also the academia in general. So indeed, the urge to develop the construct of Indian management has come from some interesting empirical observations. If you ask me about those observations, I would say that there is the resilience of Indian society to survive over last 5,000 years, its ability to adapt, adopt, and march onward. So if we look at the entire history of last 5,000 years, if any idea is worth, then only it can travel this long. Otherwise, of course, when we talk about management theories and their evolving nature, there is no point at coming to us in terms of its significance, in terms of its role in managing the day-to-day activities. If we look at India's freedom struggle, it is another unique historical event, and it is basically used as an eventful case study for several management lessons. If we look at the entire Indian freedom struggle and the stories of those freedom fighters who actually sacrificed even their lives, their families, their entire decorations which they got. Some of them, they sacrificed their job also. So India also ranks high among the nations with several more than 100 years old surviving business organizations. It is we who have the history of business enterprises which are age long, and more than 100 years is their age, and still they are surviving. And not only surviving, they have made their presence felt. now when we talk about liberalization and globalization, it has provided a new impetus to create and develop organizations around the new ideas. New ideas and businesses, of course, the new format of business, the new way of dealing with the present day situation, the present day problem, it has also emerged. So when Americans they conceptualized their experience of building business organizations, the idea of American management was born. It came into practice. Likewise, when Japanese did so, their idea was came into the existence. Now Indian scholars, they have realized that there is an urgent need to start conceptualization of Indian experience of building corporate enterprises in terms of Indian metaphors, models and mantras, and this is the reason why we call that the idea of Indian management is now emerging, not only in terms of theoretical significance, not only in terms of coming into the research papers, research articles, or the academic material, but also in the industrial practices, in the practices of the business enterprises which are working. So in the new context of the global village, we are also observing a convergence of ideas from different cultural context and regions of origin, which is leading to a new mingling of cultures and ideas. And now we can say that we are finding an intermingling of American, Japanese and Indian management concepts in different forms, particularly in Indian organizations. So we are not discounting the role of American and Japanese style of management, but yes, there is an equal role of Indian management concepts when it comes to deal with the routine functions of business management. So this mingling can be referred to as K3 approach. Nowadays we call it, I was going through a research paper and it very aptly explained it as K3 approach, where K3 is representing the presence of 3K, alphabet K. One is Kola, another is Kaizen, and third one is knowledge. And it can also be referred as Kola, Kaizen and Karma, where Karma and knowledge is representing the Indian style of management. That see, this is what is needed, knowledge or Karma, that is representing another K in this K3 approach. So there is an equal place of Indian way of managing the things in business enterprises nowadays, and in these perspectives K3 can emerge as a universal approach, not only for Indian entities but also for entities which are operating or working across the globe. And from this entire discussion which I have actually put in front of you, the focus of these four approaches which we were discussing is to understand the concept of management. It can be identified in terms of our emphasis on four important aspects of any business enterprise, four important aspects or four important points from where we are witnessing the challenges. One is what is the role, second is understanding the self, third one is enterprise performance improvement, and of course last one is cultural context. So you cannot, cause we need to understand that the culture is something which we cannot change. We need to honor the diversity of the cultures which are present, and India is having expertise into that, because we always say that, very often say that there is a unity in the diversity which we are witnessing in Indian scenario. So this was basically a brief discussion on the different perspectives with which a manager has to interact, or with which a manager has to deal with while performing the routine functions of a business enterprise. Now we'll talk about the construct of Indian management. Although the many ideas from Indian metaphors and experience have become part of management thought nowadays, and the construct of Indian management is basically evolving in nature, and it is evolving further through a synthesis of Eastern and Western ideas. And India always believe into Ano Bhadra Krito Yanto Vishwata, which means let the noble idea come to us from all dimensions, from every dimension. So we have no reservation in accepting the idea if it is really good, if it is really worth, then of course we are there to accept it. So the beauty of construct of Indian management is that it always accepts the good ideas with open hands, and it is in the respect that the idea of Indian blend from Indian tea industry provides us a new foundational basis for future development and Indian management. Likewise, metaphor of indica, if we look at the metaphor of indica from Indian automobile industry, it is basically giving us a reflection of the capacity and the potentiality of Indian organizations to effectively respond in a situation which is highly competitive. So we don't mind naming our product or giving a reflection of our own country. And why we don't mind? Because we understand the very significance or the quality which we are offering. So the metaphor of indica and also the Indian blend, when we are exporting the tea, of course we are giving a reflection. We are showing that this is the Indian blend from the Indian tea industry, and the same is the case of Indian automobile industry. So we are not here to advertise any company, but just to give you an idea, because when we talk about the Indian style of management, we cannot avoid having a discussion on Indian corporate entities, the kind of rich legacy they have created, and their presence is not only in India but also across the globe. I would say that they are present, they are omnipresent. They are present in each and every part of the world. And actually developing appropriate combination of current ideas to create new ideas is basically the essence of the concept of Indian blend. So we are using a combination, whatever is relevant in the marketplace, that only we need to adopt. As we define marketing at times, that staying relevant in the marketplace is called marketing. So I need to stay relevant not only in terms of my product, but also in terms of my behavior. Because whatever processes I am following in my factory, you would find reflection of the same in the product which I am producing. So the output of my factory is going to give you the reflection of the entire thinking process what we are having. So we need to stay relevant in the marketplace. That is something which is important, and here comes the role of Indian blend. So for a deeper appreciation of this entire idea of Indian management, we very often say that we need to look at the historical perspective, because new models and metaphors can be generated by simply relying upon the problem. You can find a new idea, but whether this idea will sustain or not, for that we need to validate it on the basis of the vast reservoir of ideas and concepts which are hidden in historical experiences. If you look at the history of any country, any nation or any civilization, you would find that there is a psycho-spiritual heritage, and India is very much expert into that. And the Indian business acumen is basically known since the time of Indus Valley civilization, which had trading links with far off places. So we have an example of Indus Valley civilization. And if we look at the concepts of business enterprises in Indian scenario, we used to call the business as Vanijya. We had a concept of Kray Vikray, purchase and sale, what you call. We have a system of Shobha and Labh. It is the rich heritage of Indian business setup, where we talk about generating profit with ethics, ethical ways and means of generating profit, and that Labh is an indicative of profit, and Shubh is indicative of whatever is good, whatever is ethical, whatever is good for not only the business but also for the entire society as a whole. We used to have the customer as the god. Customer is called as Grahak in Indian terminology, in Hindi, and there is a term called Hundi as an instrument, which was regarded as one of the negotiable instrument. We had I, Vyay, which actually appear in the ancient Indian writings. So my dear learners, why I am telling you all these things? Just to give you a reflection of the very construct of Indian management. And they basically, all these things, they basically form the foundation of Indian business approach, which you call as Vyapar Shastra. So this has actually not developed overnight. It is basically a process through which it has come into the practice, and these concepts are very much relevant even in today's time. If we talk about the making of profit in an ethical manner, now we talk about CSR. Why these shenanigans are there? Why these financial frauds are there? Because somewhere in the foundation, they could not have the very concept of Shubh Labh, which is rare in the Western, amid the Western thinkers. They could not even think of having this kind of idea, where this very term of Shubh and Labh is an indicative of making profits by ethical ways and means. If you are making huge amount of profit by some wrongdoings, and later on you make some charity or give some donations, that is not going to serve the purpose. So it is basically the richness of that legacy, that ancient wisdom, which actually guides us for doing things in an ethical manner, for performing our duties with all commitment, dedication. So there is no place for conflict. So my dear learners, after giving you a brief outlook or introduction of the constructs of Indian management, now I'll be letting you go through the different ideas and what is their functional classification, and along with that I'll also be telling you about the source of the same, from where it has come. So there is a 3-level classification of construct of Indian management, which I could find in the existing literature, and the idea is something which is very important. And for that idea, what is the functional classification, to which functional area it belongs when we talk about the management as a discipline, and what is the source of that I am going to present before you. If I take up the idea of psycho-spiritual understanding of self, we have to understand the psycho-spiritual self. What is there into the psyche of a person who is working not only as a leader but also as an employee, as a subordinate? That actually is classified under functional classification. We classify it under the head of organizational behavior, which is called as OB, and the source of it is Indian ethos in management. We are finding the same from the roots of this are basically found and can be found in Indian ethos in management. Second one is trusteeship form of organization. There is a trusteeship form of organization where you should come out of that karta bhav of that business enterprise. You should feel that whatever business enterprise you have established, you are basically acting as a trustee of that business enterprise. Imagine the beauty of this concept, this very concept which is classified under organizational theory, and where we talk about taking business, the owner of business, as a trustee, that I am regarded as a trustee of my business. So I should take some part of profit for myself, and rest need to be left for the social welfare, for the society. Because my business is established not only by me, but with the contribution and help of each and every member who is contributing to my business enterprise, to the functions of my business enterprise, either directly or indirectly. So it is a society cause of which I am surviving as a business enterprise, and this is coming from Gandhiji's thoughts. Gandhiji's trusteeship model is very well known. Source of it is from Gandhiji's thoughts of trusteeship model. The next one is again it is coming under the classification of organizational theory, where we talk about harmonization paradigm in industrial relations. That how to harmonize. We are the only country which talks about industrial democracy. We talk about giving equal right to our employees, that they should share the profit of business enterprise. So harmonization paradigm in industrial relation is another thought which we inherit from Gandhiji's ideas, Gandhiji's thoughts. Moving ahead, we have extending corporate frontiers, which comes under strategic management, and it is coming from Arthashastra. After that, we talk about Lok Sangrah, which is the social responsibility of business enterprise. Nowadays we talk about CSR as a term which is not only used in Indian scenario but also at global level. So Lok Sangrah basically is an age-long idea in Indian scenario, and we got it from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which actually talks about the Lok Sangrah. Whatever collection you are making, it should be for the welfare of the society as a whole. And Shubh Labh, I already told you that it is classified under business ethics, and it is basically an idealized Indian business concept. If we look at tax metaphors, because apart from HR we have finance also. If we look at the tax metaphors, we talk about finance and public policy, and that is coming from the Arthashastra and other writings. For tax, there is a very interesting theory. The Western thinkers, they basically give an idea of limit of squeezability. that you should not squeeze a person to that extent that that person starts shouting. So tax need to be designed in such a manner that a person should not feel the pinch of paying taxes. And it is already there into our own Indian literature, where we say that the tax collector need to act like cloud, that you should basically take it is just like, sun taking water. If we consider this that entire mythology, that sun is taking water in making cloud, so that evaporization process, with that evaporization the cloud making is done, and after that the rainfall comes. So it says that tax collector need to work like that only, that the person should not even realize that when the authorities collected tax, when did I pay tax. So it should be like evaporization, that in due course of time you are paying tax and contributing to the welfare of the society. So it is very much there into the Arthashastra and other writings. What you call as limit of squeezability, we don't believe into the squeezability. We don't believe into squeezing somebody. We believe into the evaporization. We talk about the natural practices, the natural way of dealing with the situation. If we talk about advertising raga and advertising rasa, there, and which comes in the field of marketing, we already have the theory which is called as Navras theory. We say that there are 9 rasas, which basically gives an idea of what our advertising does today. If we talk about stress management through transcendental meditation, it is we only who talk about the transcendental meditation. And yoga and meditation is a source for it, and we all know that 21st June is celebrated as World Yoga Day. Even the entire world has accepted the significance or the significant role of yoga in shaping the mind and heart of people. So it is basically reducing the kind of stress our business enterprises, our workers are witnessing or going through, which is classified under the head of organizational behavior. And the next one is human values in management, which is coming from the management thought, and it emanates from Indian philosophy. The source for this entire construct of management goes to the research articles published by Subhash Sharma, in his book, which is published by the New Age publishers, and we duly acknowledge their contribution to the constructs of Indian management. So in nutshell, I would say that the recent history of Indian management can be viewed in terms of 3 distinct eras. The first one is the Indian management ideas, which originated largely from the domain of trading activity and small businesses. And during the second era, an intellectual movement known as Indian ethos in management, it arrived, and it has actually made significant and substantial change in management thought. And now we talk about Indian management. It has entered the third era, where the era of synthesis between East and West is taking place. So I hope that you have understood the basic constructs of New Age Indian management with this lecture of mine. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you so much.